Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with another video today. Now, in my last video, or one of my last videos, I said some of the reasons that you shouldn't come to Spain. I think the title was Don't Come to Spain If. But in this video, I'm going to be a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more positive, and talk about some of the things that you should come and live in Spain for. Some of the things that are definite pros of living in this country. So, let's go. Now, I had a couple of comments in the last video about all of the caravans that we have here on the right. The reason there are so many caravans, and basically it's because you can't park caravans in normal residential areas. So there are designated areas in this town where you can park caravans if you have one. So you can't park any caravans or big vehicles like trucks or anything like that in the residential areas, and there's not enough space to have a caravan on your property because property sizes are fairly limited, at least here anyway. So you wouldn't be able to put a caravan on your property the majority of the times. That's why they're on the side of the street. So, talking about some of the reasons to come to Spain. Now, there are many. I'm just going to talk about 3 or 4. And one of the first reasons I'm going to talk about is the diversity. The diversity of cultures, the diversity of the people, the diversity of food. Actually, food will be another one of the things that I talk about. But if we're on the topic of diversity, Spain is a very diverse country, for good and for bad. Sometimes that diversity works against Spain, but it is the secret to this country, in my opinion, that you can go from the north to the south, from the east to the west, and get a lot of diversity in the peoples, in the languages, in the cultures in general. There is a fairly common Spanish culture, let's say, that if you come from outside, you can see a common Spanish culture. But if you look between the lines, there are a lot of regional diversities which I find quite attractive, and one of the reasons that I like living here. You can hop in the car and drive, and in a few hours you'll be able to find a completely different area with different cultures, different traditions, different regional foods, and that is something that I like, especially if you come from a country like Australia, which is fairly monocultural in that sense. Lots of people come from different countries and try to establish themselves there, but we don't have a lot of cultural diversity, let's say, in Australia, or at least similar to what you can get in Europe and in particular Spain. So that's one of the pros. Now, I'm on my way to a supermarket, so it's going to be about another 5 minutes till we get there, so I'll keep talking about this topic. Diversity, one of the most important things that I like about this country. Now, that also relates to the food. Now, I love to eat and drink. It's one of my passions. I like going to restaurants. I like going out to bars and having tapas. I like trying different foods. And Spain is one of those countries that, if you are like me and you do like to eat and drink, this is an absolute paradise. I haven't met a person that's come to Spain and hasn't been impressed by the quality of the food that you get in restaurants and bars in this country. Local cooking, home cooking is also quite good. If you can find somebody who's willing to cook you a meal, great. Absolutely great. It's not spicy food, so if you're looking for spicy curries like Thai curries and Indian curries and stuff like that, you're not going to get that here, but you're going to get a lot of diversity, a lot of difference in products and lots of different types of foods. And I personally think that that's one of the reasons why you should come and live in Spain if you are considering it, to get that that great cuisine and great food and drink. Wines, again, lots of different types of wines, lots of great wines all over the country, lots of different regions with white wines and red wines and rosés. So eating and drinking, absolutely fantastic. Couldn't recommend that more. One of the reasons why you should come and live in this country for a while at least. Maybe you don't need to live the rest of your life, but if you are deciding to come to live in another country, Spain could be on your list for that reason. And another reason that you should come and live here, one of the things that I recommend that you come here for is all of the places that you can visit. Similar to the diversity that I mentioned before, all of the little villages and all of those little things that you can visit on a weekend. Great villages, and the people are really friendly. And that takes me on to my last point. People in Spain are friendly. Once you get to speak the language, once you get to know a few people, they are friendly. They have their quirks like every group of people do, but I would say that the dickhead count per capita here is lower than in some of the other places that I've lived in before. And really that's associated to the way people socialize. And I've spoken about this on a number of occasions, that people socialize and they go out to have a good time. There's no aggression, there's no tension in the air when people are out a lot of the times. You can find it, but it's not something that's in your face. It's not something that you can feel in a pub or a restaurant. Sometimes, when I go to restaurants and bars in Australia, there's a lot of people showing off, and you can see that there's a lot of young men particularly that can get a bit aggressive when they drink and they're with their mates. Here, not so much. We're going through the worst car park in the area here. Excuse the bumps. But that's one of the things. Spanish people live and they let you live. If you want to look for trouble, you're going to find it. People are not going to back down from an argument, but it's not something that's going to pop up on a regular basis. In fact, I've been here for 20 years and I don't think I've ever had a run-in with, well, I probably have had a few run-ins with people, but nothing that I can remember off the top of my head. And like I said, it's one of those things that Spanish people are friendly. They try to go out of their way to help people, as long as you're able to, as I said, speak a bit of the language and able to communicate with people. So those would be some of the reasons that I would recommend that you come to live in a country like Spain, should you be thinking of doing so. So I'll wrap that video up here. Questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.